Hi everyone, this is Raven of moonmedicine.co, and today I want to talk to you about ancestor work. So, what is ancestor work? To me, ancestor work is basically just having a connection with your ancestral lineage for the purpose of guidance and also for healing. Ancestor work can also have to do with working with the ancestors of the land that you live on, or honoring those ancestors, I should say. But for me personally, it's more about working with your own personal lineage for the purposes of guidance and healing. And why do we do ancestor work? Well, when I first started my endometriosis healing journey, I was really focused on my lifestyle changes, my diet, my emotional state, my mental health, and that was all really helpful for my healing process. But I got to a point where I hit a wall and I was looking for something else to help get me past that wall, to help me get further along in my healing. And I started turning towards my ancestors for guidance on herbs to use, on different practices to start including in my healing process, and also just to have some general guidance in where to go in my life in order to make all of these new changes work and fit into my lifestyle. And I got all of that when I started doing ancestor work, and that was just asking my ancestors for guidance. So I made a lot of progress from that point, and then I hit another wall. And when I hit that second wall, I decided to delve even deeper into the ancestral aspect of my healing. And for me, what that looked like was working on healing some ancestral traumas that were still showing up for me in my womb. And I came to this conclusion after a combo ceremony that really opened my eyes to the fact that a lot of the pain that I was carrying was not just my pain, it was the pain of the ancestors and the people that came before me. So if you have done any research on epigenetics, you'll know that when we experience some kind of trauma, it can have an impact on our DNA. And that can manifest as altered thought patterns, it can manifest as altered just ways that we move through the world that impact our thought process, how we react to things, how we process different foods in our bodies, how we process different emotions in our bodies. So when I do ancestor work, I'm looking at identifying what those traumas could be connected to, and recognizing where those patterns that stem from those traumas are still showing up in my day-to-day life. And for me personally, I've seen this in how I work. Most recently, I've seen how I have this work ethic that is sometimes unhealthy. And I had a very clear message from an ancestral guide that showed me how slavery was still impacting my patterns in my day-to-day life. So my thoughts about work, my actions, and how I approach work was very, very unhealthy, and it was causing me a lot of stress. Stress impacts our hormones. Stress impacts how much inflammation we have in our bodies. So being able to recognize that helped me to shift that pattern and shift out of those reactions that my body was having. And this is not to say that I still don't have those reactions from other sources, but being able to pinpoint when a pattern is happening that you can shift is always helpful for the healing process. So what does an ancestor work session look like? When we work together, whether it's in person or it's a distance session, I work with tarot cards as a tool for divination. And in my bloodline and my heritage, I come from a lineage of people and women who practice divination in order to receive information and guidance. And that is a tool that I still work with in my practice, and it helps me to connect with your ancestral guides directly. It's kind of like tuning into a frequency that the ancestors can deliver messages to me from. So I pull some cards and basically have a really open and clear dialogue with your ancestors and deliver messages that really a lot of times you'll notice that the messages that come through have a lot to do with some patterns that you've been seeing already in your day-to-day life. And so we gather information about just general guidance, things that are impacting your health, things that are impacting your work, and just things that are impacting your life on a whole. So then we also look at signs and symbols and ways that your ancestors are communicating with you. So a lot of times this has to do with different things that come up in nature or different symbols that are part of your heritage. And then we also look at practices that you can include into your life that are directly connected to your bloodline, or things that maybe your ancestors have done in the past that have been really helpful in healing for them. And finally, we look at a way for you to have an opening ceremony or ritual that connects you to your ancestral guide, because even though we're working and we're having this communication with your guide one-on-one, I want you to go and develop that communication and that connection on your own. So you'll get instructions on how to have an opening ceremony and things that you can include into an ancestral altar that will help you stay connected to your guide, and that way that guide can be an ally for you in your healing process and really with your spiritual growth and development, and really help you with healing on a deeper level some of the underlying causes that could be manifesting as physical or emotional or mental health symptoms. And ancestor work is not a replacement for seeing a doctor or any other kind of therapy. This is something that you can do in addition to the other work that you're doing. But if you are curious about this and you would like to kind of open up and see what could be impacting you from a spiritual perspective, things that come from your bloodline, then absolutely explore ancestor work. And one of the ways that you can get started is to just ask that your helpful and loving and vibrant ancestral guides show up for you. And they may show up in your dreams, they may show up in day-to-day synchronicities. But when you set that intention, just notice how things start to shift in your life. If you're someone who dreams, write down your dreams. If you are someone who spends a lot of time in nature, notice when you are encountering different symbols or patterns in your life that could be connected to your ancestral lineage. If you're interested in booking an ancestor work session with me, you can go to moonmedicine.co and you can just scroll down on the page and you'll be able to book a local or a distance session, and we can get started in delving into your physical, spiritual, and emotional healing journey through connecting with your ancestral lineage. And again, my website is moonmedicine.co. And you can also find me on Instagram at moonmedicines. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.